Okay, for number 3, a 1 pound box of candy cost $4. What was the cost per ounce? And then we're given information about how many ounces are in a pound. There are 16 ounces in the pound. So we're gonna take $4, okay? $4 is going to be our dividend, and then 16 is going to be our divisor. We know that 16 does not go into 4, so we go ahead and write our 0, and then we raise our decimal, and we put it as part of our quotient. Now we see how many times 16 goes into 40, okay? So we take our number 2, 2 times 16, or you could do 2 times 6 is 12, carry the 1, and then 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, so we've got 32, okay? Now we subtract we subtract 32 from 40, which gives us 8, bring down our 0. Then we have to figure out how many times 16 goes into 80, and it goes into 85 times, so 5 times 6 is 30, bring up our 3, 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8, so that gives us our final answer, okay? Make sure you don't forget your dollar sign there for number 3. So final answer for number 3 is 25 cents, okay? Here. All right, we'll move on to number 5. All right, number 5 is a 2-part problem, and we'll work through it together. So number 5, letter A, what fraction of the square is shaded? This is a relatively simple one. We see the square has 4 boxes inside the square, and then one of them is shaded. So the shaded box will represent our numerator, okay? So for number 5, we've got 1 box shaded out of 4, so it'd be 1 over 4. So for letter A is 1/4, that's the final answer. And then for letter B, it is asking for a decimal, I believe. Write the fraction in part A as a decimal number, okay? So in order to find this one, very simple, we just make 4 our divisor and 1 our dividend. 4 does not go into 1, so we put our decimal and 0, raise our decimal, write a 0. 4 goes into 10 2 times, okay, which gives us 8. Write another 0. 10 minus 8 equals 2, bring down the 0. 4 goes into 20 5 times even, okay? And that's how we find the decimal, okay? So 1/4 equals 0.25, okay? So it's a two-part problem. A is 1/4 and B is 0.25. All right, let's go on to number 7. Write 3 and 1/8 as a decimal number. 3 and 1/8 as a decimal number. So again, we're going to use the information or the process we used here to find this decimal number for number 7. So put 7 here. All right, so we have our whole number. We don't need to worry about that. We know what that is. All right, 3 is in the ones place, okay? But we're going to take our fraction. We're going to take 1/8, okay? And 8 is going to become our divisor. 1 is going to become our dividend, okay? 8 does not go into 1, so we write our 0, put our decimals in the correct place, then we add a 0. 8 goes into 10 one time, and so we write that, subtract, down. All right, now 8 does not go into 10 evenly, so we continue reducing. We continue reducing here, so it goes into it 2 times. 8 times 2 is 16. Subtract it, put our 0, bring down the 0, and then finally 8 goes into 40 5 times evenly, okay? I'm not even sure you'll be able to see that there. The final answer is 0.125. 0.125, okay? All right, then let's move on to number 9. Number 9, write 12% as a reduced fraction, then write the fraction as a decimal number. So let's go here. It's number 9, I believe. Yeah, number 9. So 12%. Again, relatively simple one. You guys probably figured out pretty quickly. When we're dealing with percentage, it's a percentage out of 100, so it's going to be 12 over 100, okay? 12 over 100, okay, but we need the reduced fraction, so which number goes into both of these evenly. So for this one, we're going to divide both of these by 4, okay? 4 over 4. So 4 goes into 12 3 times evenly, and then 4 goes into 125 times evenly. So that's your final answer for number 9, 3 over 25, 3 over 25. And then our decimal, very simply, okay? So 12 over 100, our decimal is written as 0.12. We see the 2 is in the hundredths place, that's represented right there. So our decimal representation is 0.12. And let's move on. Number 11, 5 minus m. 5 minus m equals 3 1/8. Okay, so this is going to take a couple steps to figure out. We're going to draw our box here. Go ahead and put number 11 right there. So 5 minus m equals 3/8. So to find the missing number, we're going to have to subtract. So we take our 5, okay, and this is how I like writing it. 5 minus 3 1/8. I believe that's right. 5 minus 3 1/8, okay? So the first thing we need to do, we need to borrow a whole from the 5. The 5 becomes a 4. And so we represent our whole as a fraction, 8 over 8. And now we can subtract. So we've got 8 minus 1 equals 7. And then 4 minus 3 equals 1. Okay, so we got 1 and 7/8. So 1 and 7/8 would be our final answer to number 11. So 5 minus 1 and 7/8 would equal 3 1/8. So again, our final answer, I'm not sure if you can see that. I'll move that. Equals 1 and 7/8. I'm probably going to erase the board here. You could just rewind, rewind the video to see the answers on these boards. But I'm just going to wipe this down real quick so we can put the rest of the answers there. Again, if you have any questions about any of the even number problems between 1 through 20, just go ahead and email me and let me know which problem you're having trouble on, and I will help you as best I can. All right, we're on number 13. Okay, so I'm talking about 13 here on the board. 13, we're gonna take 13. M plus 1 2/3 equals 3 1/6. Okay, so we take 3 1/6. Now to find the missing number, we're gonna have to subtract. So we take 3 1/6 minus 2 2/3. When adding and subtracting fractions, we need to make sure that the denominator is the same. In this case, they're not the same. We have 1/6 and 2/3. So we need to find the least common factor between the two of them. Yeah, least common factor, or least common denominator. Least common multiple? No, not the least common multiple. Least common factor. Okay, between these two. Okay, so I'm sorry, not the least common factor, the greatest common factor. Greatest common factor between these two. I knew something was up. Okay, so the greatest common factor between 3 and 6 is 6. Okay, so our denominator needs to change to a 6. So we gotta multiply that by 2. Okay. Whole number comes over. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. Go ahead and move this over. 3 1/6. But remember, we're subtracting, so now we have 3 1/6 minus 2 and 4/6. We can't take away 4 from the 1, so we borrow from the 3, make that into a 2. And we add 6 over 6, which gives us 7 over 6. And now we can subtract. 7/6 minus 4/6 equals 3/6, and then, I did that last time too. It's 2/3. I'm sorry, 1/3, and 1 2/3. 1 2/3, okay? So now we subtract 2 minus 1, and that is 1. So here we have 1 and 3, 6. That's still not our final answer because 3 goes evenly into both of them. So we got 1 and 1/2. So that's the final answer to number 13. Okay. And then we go on to number 15. Okay. Number 15 is a relatively simple one. If you don't get it right off the bat, set it up like this. Number 15. Set the 1. Go ahead and take the 1, give it a decimal and 2 place values, and then subtract 0.95. And then that might be easier for some of you. Some of you may be able to get it right off the bat, but this is the way to solve it. Okay, let's go on to number 17. Right there, number 17. Again, at any point in this video, just pause it, and if you need to see the problem on the board, just go ahead and pause it on the problem. Okay, we've got 0.26 divided by 5, okay? So our 0.26 is the dividend, and our 5 is the divisor. 5 is not going to 0, so we put our 0, our decimal. 5 doesn't go into 2, so we put another 0. 5 does go into 26, 5 times evenly, so we take 5 times 5, it's 25, okay? And then we subtract, okay? Bring down the 0. 5 goes, we add a 0 and then we bring down the 0. 5 goes into 10, 2 times, okay? And I feel like I'm saying okay a lot. Anyway, that's our final answer, 0.052. 0.052. I'm gonna do this last one right here. I think you can see it from there. So we've got 7 tenths equals 100, and then we are looking for the missing numerator, okay? So here we see that 10 times 10 would equal 100, okay? So whatever we do to the denominator, we must do to the numerator. So we know that 7 times 10 would equal 70, and that's how we solve for that. It's kind of small, but that's number 19, okay? Go ahead and, if you haven't done so already, work on your all the numbers, or all the problems that are even numbers, work those out. And that's it for our math class today.